Good children, how are you all? Are you all ready for the class? Are you all attending the class, by the way? The classes that is sent on online? Only few, yes, I can understand. Only few children are listening to the class. Okay, it's up to you to decide. Now, I hope you are all keeping fine, getting ready for your classes or your various activities. Okay, so on my behalf, I want you to get into another lesson. Is the poem on the grasshopper and the cricket. You have already learned one poem, it's not? The ant and the cricket you have learned. Yeah, the nature. So this poem on the grasshopper and cricket is poem written by John Keats. John Keats is an English poet. He's a maybe nature lover. He has written the poem and it is based on the cricket and on grasshopper and cricket. Last poem you have learned ant and cricket, is it not? That you have learned already. So here we can see the nature lover of the poet. That the poet is so fond of the nature, maybe he keenly observes the nature, and in this poem you will see there is an unending song that is heard on the earth. If you listen early morning or from evening, if you have that keen interest to listen to the nature, you can see different sounds, is it not? Different animals, different birds, different insects, even the moving of the leaves, making noise in the wind and things like that. So this poet is keenly observing the nature and listening to he says the sound of the animals. That means maybe birds, maybe insects, maybe all those things. Of course, here you learn the grasshopper and the cricket. Both of them are insects, is it not? So you also will find different birds singing. So he says the singing on the earth, that is, never stops. You will be listening and the singing will be going on, whether it is a birds, whether it is a grasshopper, whether it is cricket, whether it is any other animals, or different sound is going on without any end. That is what the poet is trying to tell us. Okay, in this poem you will see that before ending into the poem, you will see, unlike the ant and the cricket, that is you have already learned, which tells a story. This is the nature poem. In it, okay, the grasshopper and the cricket do not appear as characters in the story. You won't find them as a characters. Character means taking part in it. Okay. Rather, they act as symbols. They act as symbols. They don't appear, but they are symbols. You can see each suggesting something else. Each suggesting something else. Read the poem and notice how the poetry of the earth keeps on through the summer, winter, in the never-ending song, who sings in the song. So that is what, because you will find in this poem there is a music is going on, never-ending in the nature. If you observe, because different sounds you can hear, different insects, different birds, different animals, so many sounds, but we don't listen. We only selectively listen. Is it not? Even in the class, teachers may be teaching, very rarely we listen. You listen that time somewhere else. So we have that interest of our own interest to listen where. Is it not? We choosily select, or what we like, we listen or hear, things like that. But this poet is telling there is a never-ending song that is going on the earth if you keenly listen. That is what he is trying to tell us. Is it clear, children? The poet is trying to tell there is a never-ending song is going on in the nature that is on the earth. Maybe with the insects, maybe with the birds and things like that. But never-ending, it doesn't stop. Okay, if we are really listening, we can also understand that. So now maybe this poet is a nature lover. He loves the nature. From there, he is writing the poem. This is based on the grasshopper and the cricket. Okay, as we enter the poem, please take your page number in my book 122 it is. Okay. So here it is a song. Okay. The poetry of the earth never dead. He says the poetry of the earth never dead. When all the birds are faint with the hot sun and hides in cooling trees, a voice will run from hedge to hedge about the new mown way. That is the grasshoppers. He takes the lead in summer luxury. He has never done with his delights, for when tired out with fun, he rests at ease beneath some pleasant weed. The poetry of earth is ceasing never on a lone winter evening when the forest has wrought a silence from the stone there shrills. The cricket's song in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one in loneliness half lost. The grasshoppers among some grassy hills. So what is that the poet is trying to tell? You may not see the things, but you can hear the sound. Here it says, the poetry of the earth is never dead. The first line. That means the singing or the music that is going on the earth, it is continuously. It doesn't stop. Why? Because different animals, birds, insects are there. So therefore, each one is singing according to their moods and rhythms, according to the climatic situation and things like that. So he said, the poet, John Keats is telling, the poetry of earth never dead. That means there is a music that is going on. It will not die. It will never die. Then, when all the birds are faint with the hot sun, that means during the summer, all the birds and the things are very, very tired. It's not hottest sun. So, what will they do? And hide in the cooling tree, a voice will run. It will, even during the hottest sun, you can hear the birds singing. And what do? Do they stand in the sunlight? They will hide themselves on a cooling tree, where under the shade, or they will be sitting on the branch of a cooling tree, and they will be going on singing. And they will never sleep, or they will never stop singing. So even during the summer, the birds sings. They take their own possession. They will take a shelter on a tree, and there will be a voice will run from hedge to hedge about the new mown made. He says, so different birds sing in different tune, different sounds are there, is it not? Even each one of us has got a different sounds. Very cannot sing, is it not? But each bird has its own way of singing or making their cry. Okay, that is from head to head. That means from branch to branch or things. It is moving. Okay, it will sing and it gives. They will sit very coolly. They enjoy the nature, whatever is. Okay, we complain. Oh, it is very hot. It is very rainy and things like that. But they whom they complain, they will simply enjoy their nature. That is the animals and the insects do. But we human beings never be satisfied. It's not. We will be complaining for everything. Summer also we complain, oh it is very hot, this and that will say. If it is rainy season, that time also we complain. We are never satisfied with it. But the animals, they really enjoy the nature. Okay. Now, the next line. That is the grasshoppers. He takes the lead in summer luxury. He has never done. With his delights, for when tired out with fun, he rests at ease branches beneath some pleasant weed. So this grasshopper or the cricket, what do? They hide some stones or some dried wood and things like that. They also make noise. For them, it's not they don't bother what kind of a nature it is. So according to them, they really enjoy the nature. They sing. They hide themselves. They protect themselves, of course. They need to protect, isn't it? So they know how to protect, where to sit, and they know their nature, and according to that. But they going on singing. They make their own cries. That is what the poet is telling. So they never stop. Even the birds, then different season, different times, each birds or insects cry, or they say, the poet is telling they are singing melodiously each things. Okay, that is what he says there. The poetry of the earth is ceasing never. That means the singing of the earth never ceases. This means never stops. It is going on. On a lone winter evening when the frost, even the winter season, very cold season, has wrought a silence from the stone where chills. When everything was cold and he thinks shivering, but the singing of the birds or insect will be continuing. The crickets also, some birds sings, the grasshopper sings, and the cricket. The cricket's song in warmth increasing ever. So cricket hides on the somewhere in the shade, on the rock or a shield or a stone or wood somewhere. It makes its own, and seems the cricket song in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one in drowsiness half lost. The grasshoppers among some grassy hills. So the grasshopper, the cricket, all they take their turn to sing to the earth. Okay, so it says, the poet is saying, the song of the earth never stops. It is continuous. Why? The different birds, insects, that is like grasshopper, cricket, and things like that. This is a simple poem. So what we should have is we should have that love for the nature. So we should be able to appreciate everything, which we don't have that capacity. What we do, we criticize everything. So not, we find fault with everywhere, and we are never be satisfied. But this poet is able to enjoy the nature, enjoy the sound of the birds or insects, and he says that they are the music of the nature. The earth sings and it never stops. It never dies. So beautifully the poet is telling. So the birds sings, grasshopper sings, and the cricket sings. In even season and out of season, there is no stops in the music on the earth. That is all the poem is. Still here, children? Once again, I will read the poem. Listen carefully. The poetry of the earth is never dead. When all the birds are faint with the hot sun, and hides in cooling trees, a voice will run from edge to edge about the new morn made. That is the grasshoppers. He takes the lead in summer luxury he has never done. With his high delights from when tried out with fun, he rests at ease beneath some pleasant weed. You know, the simple words, weed and so on, means not natural things, or it is not exactly some wood, some tree, some plants and things like that. Okay. Second paragraph, second stanza, it is not a paragraph, poet is always stanza. The poetry of the earth is ceasing never. On a lone winter evening when the frost has wrought a silence from the stone their shrills. The cricket's song in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one in drowsiness half lost. The grasshoppers among some grassy hills. You see, some may be dry, some drowsy, and things. Drowsy means what? Half sleepy like that, no? But they sing, go on sing, they never stop. So that is what the poet is trying. Some of the words meaning in the glossary that is given for you, because poetic language, it has got exactly meaning we cannot find. Okay, so we have to find out the exact meaning. You will not get. So you listen to the poem. Okay, wrote. So here wrote about. So you should be able to find out the rhyming words in the poem. See, for example, you know how to find out the rhyming word. Rhyming words will mark the words ending same sound. That is sun, run, then need, lead. You see, done, fun. You see the different rhyming words that you find out. Some of the glossary meanings are there. Wrought, that means what about. Shrills comes through loud and clear. Okay. Then some of the you find out the if you find difficult words to understand the poem better, you find out. It's not a difficult poem. The thing is love of the nature. How the poet is trying to tell the different cries of the insects or the birds. Then he says they are the song that is made. The music that is made by these animals. Animals means these birds and insects may be different kinds. So the poet is trying to enjoy that. Is it clear? That's all about the poem. I want you to read the poem and study. Understand what the poet is trying to tell us through the poem. And working with the poem, there are some questions which you have to discuss. Discuss with your partners the following definitions of the poem. What are they? A poem is made of words arranged in a beautiful order. These words, when read aloud with feeling, have a music and meaning of their own. That is the definition of the poem. Okay, as I said, poem is not like the ordinary story that you read. It has got the rhymings, that rise and fall of the tone is there. Isn't it? But according to that, you have to sing. According to that, you have to recite the poem. A poem is not reading, it is reciting, which means it has got a rise and fall of tone is there. So that is what now you discuss or you reflect with your own, because now you cannot discuss, you are all at home. There are no. Second question is, poetry of the earth is not made of words, that is made of as suggested in the poem. What are they? So it's not words, it is the music, isn't it? The cries of the different sounds of the, and then you reflect, you reflect after reading, you find out the answer for that. I'm just telling you. Third one is, find the poem lines in match the following. That is, the grasshopper's happiness never comes to an end. Find out what is the rhyming words connected to that sentence in the poem. Second one is, cricket songs was warmth that never decreases. So there is no increase, there never stop, there is no decreasing. Decreasing means diminishing. Kuraiga. So it is never stops, never decreases. You know, that is. Then, which stands or which word in the stanza 2 is opposite meaning of the frost? What is means frost? Frost means man, you know, that is like snows. So what is the opposite of that is we find out. Okay. Then that is you find out and you must tell me in the next class. Then the last fifth question is, poetry of the earth continues round the earth through the cycle of the season. 2 seasons. Mention each with the respective voice. So seasons are mentioned in the poem. The two kinds of 2 animals, 2 insects are mentioned. That is the grasshopper and so you once again read, you find out the answer for this. Is it clear, children? That's all the poem. It was very simple lines. It was very simple poems and simple things where anybody can understand. And you are all studying 8th standard children should be. So the poet John Keats is an English poet. He is lived in the 17th, 18th century and he has written a beautiful song on the nature, listening to the cries of the insects and birds, telling they are the songs on the earth. Is it clear? So here I stopped. I want you to read the lesson. Read and understand by yourself and to try to do working with the poem by yourself. The simple things. You understand? Then if you have doubts, you must ask me. Is it clear, children? See you in the next class. Thank you.